Well, good morning, folks, and welcome to a gorgeous early winter morning here on the farm. As you can see, if we had pumpkins still in the garden, there'd be an awful lot of frost in them, but pumpkins are not in the garden. Pumpkins are in my bowl. I've already saved a whole bunch of seeds from the last few days. We gutted a few fancy pumpkins as well as the, I guess, more conventional pumpkins. So I'm going to get these laid out on some paper towel and get them curing for a few days before we store them in an envelope in our cold room. And well, it's also time to move some sheep. As you can tell, in this kind of weather, it's not really conducive to growing a whole bunch of grass. So we want to bring our ewes up tomorrow from the pasture down in the bottom and put them in the two paddocks in behind the shop, and that will help us separate the two distinct breeding flocks. Now, right now, our rams are in there, and I don't want to try and facilitate a move of the ewes up while the rams are still in here, because that could just, well, let's be honest, that would just be chaos. So we're going to get the boys moved over to the other side of the farmyard over here first. And then, well, if that goes well, then we're going to try and actually walk the ewes up out through the field and up the main road and into the farmyard here without the use of a trailer. Now, that's a bit non-typical. And the reason we want to try and do that is essentially it's been raining for the last 2 days. You would never know, because you look at it now, it looks like it's a winter wonderland. But it actually has rained for the last 2 days, and I'm pretty confident if I drag that big stock trailer down through the field, I'm just going to make a bunch of unnecessary ruts that I'll have to manage. So I got a bucket of grain here. Got the three fellas. God hates a coward. I'm just going to open that little gate over there and see if we can't walk across the lawn. And everything's going to go either like totally fantastic or completely sideways. I guess we shall see. Come on, boys. I got treats. Come on, boys. Is that your lamb? Yeah. Come on, boys. So far, so good. Come on, boys. Except for the one. He wants to hang out way back there. Come on, fella. There you go. Bring him up, Charlotte. You fetch him up. You fetch him up. Good girl. It's actually going better than I thought. Well, looks like the boys are following, so we're right here. That's the pig pen. This is the little pen that they're going to go into. I guess I am the sheep whisperer. Maybe this move tomorrow with all the ewes is going to go better than I think it will. So this little paddock here and the one right next to it, these are the two where we're going to keep the ewes over the winter, at least until they're bred. And then we may actually just leave the rams in here and then move everybody over to where we do the lambing. But that'll be closer to February that I think we'll move everybody over. Just want to keep everybody up here for now. And the reason for that is to just, I guess, ease of maintenance. If I can just come to one spot, I already got to come to the chicken house, right? So if I got to be here already, it's not that hard for me then just to fork some hay over the fence, top up some water, give some mineral, do anything kind of in a centralized location. But if I got to go to both sides of the farmyard, although it's not very far, it does add extra inputs. Now the sun is shining beautifully here today, so I'm thinking it's going to turn out to be a pretty gorgeous day. But I got to come back in here and take down all this electric netting that we rigged up, because this area right here in between where we've planted some trees and the neighbor's fence, we utilize this as temporary grazing space during, it was a terrible drought for this summer. We didn't have a lot of extra grass. So we made full use of, I guess the unconventional spaces that we could possibly find. We used our front lawn, the side lawn, a little bit over here. I mean, why mow it if you don't have the feed, right? So now here we are. It's frozen quite solid. I'm not going to be able to get these posts out. So that's why I'm hoping the sun does its thing and melts all this here. And then this afternoon I can pull all these posts and get it rolled up and get that stuff put away for the year. And pretty important to get this stuff put away and stored properly, because it is super expensive. In fact, each of these rolls I think was about $260. It's just over $260 for a 164-foot roll. So it's pricey, but it's also versatile. And if we didn't have it this year, we'd have been in a real pickle. The other thing I got to do this afternoon is head over to Farm Philly's Ranch Supply and pick up some panels. Unfortunately, they actually closed their doors, so but they did have some remaining stock, I guess. And so they got some mesh panels, 7 or 7.5 feet long, 5 feet high. We thought, well, okay, well, we're building a barn, and the whole purpose of the barn is so we can lamb earlier in the year. So we're gonna have to build lambing jugs. So these 7.5 foot panels will just be fantastic to set up inside the barn and still give us a lot of flexibility. So we're not, using a fixed pen system. We can just kind of adjust it accordingly, however our needs are. If we need to put bigger pens in there to deal with cattle or a horse or something like that, we can easily join 2 panels together. So I'm gonna pick that up about 2 p.m. today. So I do have to get the truck hooked onto the trailer, which right now has the round bale feeders that we picked up a couple weeks ago. So I also got to get them off. Well, let's just get to it. No more dilly dallying.
Can you close the gate? There you go. Good job. Such a good helper.
We're now just up here at the top of the paddock. And as I mentioned, it's quite cold this morning, but the sun is beaming down on the black roof of the shop. And that is in fact all it takes to put a little melt water into this trough. You're gonna get your hands freezing cold there, Missy. No. It's amazing because we never have to fill this water trough because all the rain comes down, or anytime it snows, the sun hits the roof and it melts and keeps this full. You get your mitts out of there, okay? Mischievous. So now only 10 minutes have passed, but the sun's come up just a little bit more as now it's really hitting the roof. And you can see there's pretty much a constant flow. And this is just, the little bit of frost that come overnight, settled on the roof. That's all it took. That's all it takes to keep this thing full. So you can capture an incredible amount of rainwater, of snow, of frost, whatever it is. And your kids can drink right out of the water trough if they want, I guess. But you think about how much water your animals need to drink and how much pressure and strain that places on your well or your dugout system. Get out of the water, honey. That nature can provide. Charlotte, are you cold? Do you want to go in the house? Yeah. Are your hands wet? Yeah. Did Daddy tell you so? No? I think I told her so. Okay, let's go have a snack. Well, as the day has progressed, it's actually clouded over, as you can see. It's not nearly as warm as I thought it was going to be, but it is still quite nice. And the boys are settling in nice in what is actually our lambing pen. So tomorrow, when I go get the ewes, I'm actually going to pen the boys up in the lambing shelter so there can be no shenanigans, because I figure when the ewes come around the corner there and they go off to the pens in behind the shop, that somebody's going to want to come visit. And we cannot have that yet. We cannot have them with early lambing issues, anything like that, because, well, we're going to have lambing issues of our own because Carmen's going to be having a baby mid-March, and we need to push any actual lambing off until probably May. That gives us time to get home, get settled in, get everybody into a routine before we add a whole nother layer of work and stress to the mix. Come on then with ya. Come on. Oh, Elsie definitely wants a piece of whatever's in the bucket, don't you? Ears pinned back, just a trotting. Come on, girl. Come on. Come on. I gotta march halfway out into the paddock here to let the slow pokes with the short legs catch up back there. Come on, Gus, you can do it. He's as round as he is tall, so I guess you gotta give him credit for moving as fast as he does. Come on, buddy. There you go. Leave the magic bucket there for them to be curious about. And sneak around behind old Gussie boy here. And the gate will be closed.
Done.
Now I gotta go retrieve the magic bucket before they use it as a play toy and chew it into smithereens because there's nothing in there. Thank you, ladies. I'll take that. Have a nice day now. So I'm back home here now. We've got all the panels, 33 of them. be able to do lots of stuff, all kinds of options. They're nice and light, so I'm not the only one that's going to have to move them, so that's pretty important. And not always do you want to have to bring the tractor out to move something around, so that's pretty cool. Very versatile. We're just going to use like screw-in eyelets that we use in the wall of the barn and be able to just lock them in place with these, top and bottom, and make little lambing jugs that won't go anywhere. And yeah, I'm pretty excited. Actually, I can't wait. I cannot wait to look out the window and there be a barn there full of these big panels. And look at the mesh, right? No lambs sneaking out, going anywhere they shouldn't be. It's gonna be awesome. Anyways, time to go get the big tractor and we'll get them off the trailer. I'll find somewhere to put them here. It's kind of interesting talking to Stephanie with Farm Phillies there. Just kind of asking like, well, why is it they closed the door? And unfortunately, they're dealing with a wholesaler. All this stuff comes out of China. Very unreliable. Lots of stuff, just shipping delays, and they say it's coming and it's going to be 5 weeks, but it turns into 5 months. It's really difficult to run a business like that. So I can totally see why they're in a hard place with that one, but so I just moved over some round bales. Actually, I got one of the rams, one of the horses. I moved one over here to where the ewes are going to go tomorrow. Just trying to be conscientious of time later in the week here where maybe I won't have the 15 minutes to spare, and I do today. What I got to do here this evening though is I got to butcher up another old IBC tote that we have that's leaking and convert that into a V-style feeder. I have one already in behind the shop, which will serve the ewes really well. The rams are just cleaning up some leftover hay from last year in that pen, but when it comes time to feed them off a bale, I mean, you can see that pile. There's a huge amount of waste, and sheep are kind of renowned for generally wasting about 20 to 25% of whatever you feed them. A year like this where there's not a lot of hay to spare, and the stuff that is around is very expensive, well, we're not too inclined to be wasteful. So just over here, you can see I got some old IBC totes, but this is the one we actually converted into a V-style feeder. And it's going to be interesting to see if this thing really is economical and reduces any kind of waste. The biggest thing is just not having a free-for-all. We're only going to fork over the hay that they should be rationed by weight, essentially, every single day. And essentially force them to lick up and clean up the stuff that maybe otherwise they would bypass. Anyways, in about an hour, I'm going to be out of daylight, but I just can't outrun my stomach, so I'm going to fetch up some eggs. We'll make some supper. I'll let you go for now. I hope you have a fantastic evening, and we'll see you tomorrow.